What's going on, guys? My name is Triforce Addiction. Welcome back to another legendary skin comparison video. So today, as requested, we are going to be doing the SPR Counter Spy versus the SPR Dual Persona. So I'm extremely excited to be making this video right now because both of these legendaries are pretty wicked in their own rights, but only one of them, of course, could reign supreme. So I never thought I would be making this video because obviously it's been almost 2 years since we've gone an SPR legendary, and I really didn't think it was going to happen. Maybe, COD Mobile didn't see the SPR as valuable, but obviously to a lot of people, including myself, I do value the SPR a lot. It's my most used marksman rifle as of right now. The Kilo is pretty good as well, but I would say the SPR still reigns supreme in terms of bolt action marksman rifles. Alright, so first off, we're going to start off with the one that came out first, which is the SPR Counter Spy. So the Counter Spy came out during a weird time in this game where I guess it wasn't, at the time the SPR wasn't really that great, given that it had a lot of hit markers, it had a lot of issues with damage and everything. So a lot of people still used the Kilo because it was the only viable option. Keep in mind, this was right before the snipers got an overhaul, giving them more flinch, doing that little idle sway change, like back when snipers were really broken. Unfortunately for me, I kind of missed it the first time around. I had to go into the For You section. Thankfully, the Counter Spy was actually one of the first legendaries to appear in the For You, so I was extremely happy to finally pick it up. I'm not sure if I did any spins within the first time it was out, but yeah. So in terms of features for the Counter Spy, it is animated slightly. You won't really notice it if you're using a camo on it, but if you use the base form, which you were supposed to, I guess, during that time, because we still couldn't put diamond on our weapons. So yeah, it does come with some animations, but it wasn't really that much. Really, the only animations that you could see are, I guess, when you're aiming in, or those little digital squares that are coming out in the back of the bolt. And speaking of which, physically, this weapon doesn't actually have a bolt. It's still considered a bolt action, but the reason why I say that is because when you actually kill someone and you bolt your weapon, there's a button that the person clicks on that makes it bolt. It's a little different with this one. Even if you inspect it, you could kind of see the sides of the gun opening up instead of, the person usually just bringing back the bolt like they usually do in that inspection. So I would say that, this is a unique legendary because of that. So eyeballing it, obviously it doesn't look like it's a really overwhelming legendary skin. If anything, without the animations, it would kind of be just like an epic skin. But they did kind of improve it later on down the line. They added some animation after you get like a kill, that little reactive effect where your gun flares up like per kill. But yeah, that was like months after this gun came out. I think it was like around the time where it appeared during the For You section. I think maybe the gun was a little bit too bare bones, especially for the amount that you pay for. So I understand why they made that change, and it makes the gun a little bit better. However, in terms of appearances and everything, I wouldn't say it's better than the Dual Persona. As for the death effect, it is pretty cool, I will say that. A pretty unique one, to say the least, but then again, I mean, every legendary skin has some sort of unique death effect. In terms of iron sights as well, it's pretty basic. It's more or less the same as just the regular iron sight that you normally use for the SPR. So, I mean, there's nothing really special there. A cool thing about this legendary skin is that it still retains the original sound from the from the SPR, like before the sound got changed. So I guess that's somewhat of a plus if you do miss the original sound for the gun. But yeah, it never got updated with it. So now we move on to the Dual Persona, which was just released last night. So it is a far different legendary skin compared to the Counter Spy. And it's far more, I guess, evolved. We're here at a different stage where legendary blueprints are a little bit more I guess more appealing to the user, if you could say that. And right now, as it stands, it's probably one of the most unique legendary skins that we received. So that's kind of like one thing that the Counter Spy doesn't have over the Dual Persona, is that it's reactive, but in a very unique way where over time it changes from like orange to blue and vice versa. But I would say that the iron sights for both of them, I guess, are interchangeable. I don't really see too much of a difference from the Dual Persona to the Counter Spy, so I would say that they're about equal there. It doesn't really matter. But in terms of effects, let's talk about death effects right now. So the thing about the Counter Spy, it only has one death effect, and that's pretty standard for a normal legendary skin without it being reactive, or even with being reactive. This is the first legendary skin to ever receive 2 different death effects. Based on whatever color the SPR is, whether it be orange or blue, there's going to be a death effect that corresponds with that color. This also applies to the muzzle flash as well. It's going to be orange if the gun is at its orange stage, or it's going to be blue if it's on its blue stage. So yeah, like the effects and everything change along with what color it is. So it's a pretty sick feature for a legendary skin. Not even a mythic has something like this. So now we move on to the gun sound. So obviously this gun has a completely unique, different shooting sound. You could say at this point that the Counter Spy also has a unique firing sound, but keep in mind, it just has the sound of the original SPR back before they changed it. So I wouldn't really call it unique as much as this one. Really, the only thing that the SPR Counter Spy really has over the dual persona is probably the weapon inspect, just the slight change because of the difference in how you bolt it. You could also probably say that, you know, the reload sound, it might be different, but again, that's not really a major feature for the legendary skin. But I would say overall, at the end of the day, the SPR dual persona is probably the better SPR legendary. Of course, this is always subject to change. Maybe later on down the line, we might get a 3rd legendary skin that might blow this one out of the water. But then again, I mean, this one's very unique, so the chances of that are very, very slim. So I mean, here's to hoping that there's something even better than this in the future. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you leave a like, make sure to subscribe, and also let me know what you think is the better legendary in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys next time.